Hey guys, this is Mike with Open It and Play. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Taskmaster. You can see him here, and then his accessories are here. So I actually got him off of eBay, and it was a very big surprise because he was coming, instead of buying the whole Cabal pack, I could just buy him by himself. And I didn't have to buy the Norman Osborn Iron Patriot that I don't really like. I always feel like it's too skinny for a guy to be inside the armor. But also I didn't have to buy another Doctor Doom, which I already have two of. So, but anyway, I've had Taskmaster on my wall at home for ages, but I never have opened him. You can see this one's package is kind of blurry actually. You would think it would not get that way, but it seems to have gotten that way over the years. But I think I've had him for about 2 years now, 2.5 maybe, but I still haven't opened him. I have a lot of guys on the wall at home that are kind of like that. I sort of built my collection all at once, and so I have a lot of guys that I never have gotten around to opening. I like Taskmaster as a character, but I'm relatively new to the character. I learned about him when I was first getting into Marvel, but I just didn't have any actual comics with him, so that's why I would say he's kind of a fresher, newer face to me. But one of my friends liked this guy a lot as a bad guy. He is a really cool bad guy. But we're gonna take a look at each version, and we'll try to see what are the pros and cons of each. So I'm gonna open this one. It's the first time opening, and I just broke the tape. I could sell him. I was thinking about selling him, but now that the new version has come out, he won't be worth a whole lot. But there he is, sort of out of the package, and he's coming with a build-a-figure piece for Thanos, like the movie Thanos. If this will focus on this. Okay. My camera has a lot of hard time focusing recently, so many times it doesn't focus. So I'll try to keep it as focused as I can, but it is probably going to be a bit of a booger to work with today. You can see this guy's on the old Bucky cap model. It's not a very good model to work with. But there's the beefy Thanos leg. But I think they did a pretty good job with this character at the time that he was new. I don't know how long the Bucky cap had been out in those days, but I am going to have to break part of the packaging to get his cape out. Here's his shield. It's smaller than the new one. If we take a quick look at the new one, here is the new one. So you can see it's quite a bit smaller. The plastic is a little bit yellower than the new one, but that's probably from natural aging. Plastics tend to do that. Okay, and then this guy comes with the golden gun up here and the sword. They both have gold plastic that they're cast in. Oh boy. Okay, this is a little bit trickier to get out than I thought. It actually has a hole in there, kind of the way that a lot of the older figures have. But here is that sword. You can see, I think this is their kind of typical sword. You can see it's got a little bit of scuff damage. I hope I didn't just do that, but I think it's been kind of beaten up. The box is not in the best shape. But and then here's that gun. A lot of people don't like this gun because it's so small, and I totally understand it. It doesn't look that realistic. Okay, and if we try to get this guy out of the package real quick, I'm gonna have to clip just a little bit of this packaging. This guy's got, I'll just cut it from the side here so we give the tape a place to escape. Okay, and then we'll Pop him out. Carefully try not to scrape the cape too much. These capes sometimes get scratched up, so if you're new to Marvel Legends, be careful taking out the plastic capes. Unfortunately, plastic capes are something we still have to deal with. Okay, and there is this version of Red Skull. Now he is completely new out of the package, so he is going to have probably some stiff joints. Not so much. You can see the articulation is pretty limited. We can already see that. But his cape is also rather narrow, I would say. But it's a rubbery material, but it's pretty thick, so it's not gonna stay in any position that you put it in, of course, because it will just go back to its original position. But and then you get a look at that face sculpt. I think that face looks probably closer to most of the images from the comics that I've seen. Kind of looks like there's a human behind the mask, whereas if we compare that to the new one, it just looks like an outright skeleton. Like, that's kind of freaky. The new one's head is bigger, so I suppose that could look more like a mask in some ways, but I don't really see the human inside, so that part kind of takes away from the new one for me. Again, let's take a look at his articulation real quick. We already saw the accessories. We have the much hated clip here. It often snaps. So again, if you're new to collecting Marvel Legends, watch out for that. You can just have him hold this, hopefully. But he does only come with these two hands. So if you're buying an old one to save money, please be careful about that. You might want to buy maybe the Black Panthers, Guardians, the white guys. I forgot what they're called, but they come with some extra hands, so they're white hands. You might be able to use them with this figure. It plugs in easily. But okay, and then that gold gun that we saw before and the sword. So let's get to the articulation. It's the Bucky Cap body bottle. So he can bend forward that much. Back, sorry, it's mostly with his legs. He can't really go back very far, but his neck is on the usual Marvel ball hinge. It goes on pretty easy. Okay, and then the cape is plugged in the back. If you can see that hole in there, it's kind of hard to see, but it is plugged in, but it also can move around at the top. It's not glued on. Okay, this part is just painted on, the same with the newer figure. They just painted that part on. So it's not very impressive. He should have kind of a flap that folds over. I might do something with green stuff on the version that I choose to keep. So okay, and then his arms go all the way around. He's got a ball joint or a ball hinge at the shoulder. He's got bicep swivel. His double jointed pinned elbows will only go to about there, just a little bit better than 90. And then his usual hinge and swivel at the wrist. Sorry, hinge. This is that type of hinge, and this is the same type of hinge. Okay, this one is more like the trigger hand, so he does have a trigger finger. It's a little bit bent up from being in the package for so long. Okay, and then his belt moves around a bit. He does swivel at the waist. He can kick up to here, which is actually pretty good for the Bucky Cap model, I think. Okay, and he's got thigh cut. He's got this little decorative thing on his geez, I can't think of all my words today. On his thighs, he's got a little strap anyway. Okay, it can go up to here with his double jointed knees. Boot cut, which is nice, and then ankles that hinge and pivot, no problem. Okay, actually, for being as old a figure as he is, and for being just out of the box, he moves very smoothly. I thought he was going to be kind of stuck, but it may be because of his age. That series, I don't know if they were all that way when they came new or if I'm just kind of lucky. But anyway, no heating needed to be done. Okay, I'll put some of his accessories on him. I'll give him his shield to hold, and I think I'll give him the sword. With the sword looks cooler than with that goofy bad gun. The gun does go into the sheath. Sorry, the lighting is a bit dark, so you can't see that so well. The gun does go into this sheath. And why doesn't my phone focus when I do this? There we go. Manual focus works better. Okay. So we've armed him up, and he's going to take his place back here with his enemies, the Avengers. Okay, and if we look at the new one, so the new one, we're going to look at the accessories first. He does come with more accessories. You can see he has 2 fists. He has a gripping hand that would be good for his shield. He has a trigger hand, and then he has an open hand down here, like as if he's motioning for something. He comes with that same gun, but this time it's cast in black plastic, and he does have a quiver with a few arrows in it. And then in addition to that, he comes with this. So he has a bow. Sorry, it's getting really dark. Is that just me, or is that the effect of the lighting? Try to open one blind. Seems better now. I think it depends on where my sensor is on my phone, but so he comes with a bow, a single arrow that matches the rest, and then this sword. I think what was under here was his quiver, but the person who sent this to me from eBay, they attached it on him for shipping purposes. Oh, you know what? Maybe it was already there. Maybe that was an accessory from somebody else. And then the shield that we already talked about. Okay, so let's get some of these accessories out, and we'll have a quick look at them. Okay, the bow is done this kind of goofy way that they've been doing the bows recently. It has what appears to be a clear string for the bow and arrow. So I guess this is a fishing line. Who knows? But okay, the paint job is cool. It looks very normal. It's cast in a brown plastic, and then it has a tan handle. And then we have this sword, which is the same design but a little bit different paint job from the previous one. Okay, the other one has more gold. This one is like a plastic finish for the gold. Hopefully the silver doesn't scratch off as easy, but that's something that Marvel Legends are notorious for. Okay, and then we have this single arrow. All right, and we'll get the shield out. You can see they still haven't improved on that, but I heard from online some of the new versions of the shields, this part is more flexible, but it doesn't seem to be the case with this Taskmaster. It's hot in this school, but it's not very flexible. There we go. But anyway, so I would recommend always using these to hold the shields with, not the clips. Okay, and we'll get this guy out of his plastic prison. I did cut this guy to have a look at him already, so we can get him out a little bit easier. I thought, but there goes his head. One arm is really stuck in there. Okay, we'll look at the accessories first. And if I can get this little gun and his other punching hand. Okay, here are the other accessories. So you got the 2 punching hands, 2 fists for punching, and then this open gesturing thing. There's the little black gun. Man, that is a small gun. That is crazy small. But okay. And this popped off, so I'm gonna have to pop it on. We'll put this here and it plugs in on the back. Okay, I think I'm gonna go for a cloth cape because it just lets this guy pose much more freely. Okay, and let's go over the posability of this guy. So he can crunch down this far. I think this is the Vulcan body mold. So he can go back a long ways compared to his predecessor. For his head, it's the same deal, ball joint on a hinge. And then he has, okay, cool. He has butterfly joints. That will help him posing just a little bit. They go back a bit and forward a bit. Better if you pull that up. But yeah, the butterfly joints, it's often, I don't know, it's not one of the things I would say is one of the great things about figure articulation in general when talking about action figures. Some people do it right, but it's pretty hard to do right. Okay, and then he has a ball joint with a hinge for his shoulder, and the biceps, come on, focus. Biceps cut, double jointed, pinless elbows so that you get better range. If I put this up, it can go like that too. Okay, pinless, and then hinge. Okay, they hinge this way, so it's more like a vertical hinge, good for shooting guns, and of course they pivot. Okay, and then his waist twists, waist cut. He's got, oh, his legs only kick up to here, so that part is a downgrade from the old one. He's got thigh cut. He's got double jointed pinless knees that will go that far. And he's got oh no, they didn't give him boot cut. It looks like there's no boot cut. Yeah, that's strange. On a super fighter, they didn't give him boot cut. They probably want to leave it open to make new versions of him in the future, but and ankles that hinge and pivot like usual. Okay, and you can see he has the holster again. Holster is on his thigh the same way as before, but they do have different paint detail. So if we compare them, and if my camera will focus, okay, so you can see a bit of the differences. The paint on the new one is slightly lighter. Okay, again, they didn't sculpt this, they just painted it on. But I'm gonna check really quick. How does this quiver go? Oh, the quiver is actually attached to it, so you can't take off the quiver, but you can put the arrow into the quiver. If this will focus. I'm afraid I'm making the whole video and only half of it's focused. But so you can put that extra arrow in there, and let's check if we can get the old head on the new body. Okay, we can get it, but it sits really high and it sits really loose. So it looks a bit small on this body, but it doesn't look really small. But I would say that you're gonna have trouble. You'll have to do some dremeling and probably put a little bit of blue tack or something in there to make it fit tighter. I'll probably Dremel it out and put green stuff because I always use green stuff, but I want more of a permanent thing. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me on this one. I'll probably recommend getting the new one if you can afford it, but I do think that the old one is not a bad figure. The old one is still a pretty good representation of the character, but that's the new version. I'll check really quick if this one will fit. it's gonna sit too low. Yeah, it sits too low, so it won't fit on here. Not really. Unless you want Squatama Potty Body. Okay, we'll switch these guys. Set them up side by side in the same pose so you can see clearly. Old and new. I'm sorry, this guy's leg is going a bit crazy. No, it's buttery smooth, but it also moves a little too fast. Well, it looks like the old one might be slightly taller. It's a trick of the imagination. Okay, anyways, thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.